Here we are. I think we were doing this keeping track of this attitude, right? Derivative of q dot. And Euler also did we do?
Sir, we did this one, I think.
This we have done.
Yes, sir.
Then we talked about taking derivative of vector VB, I think. Up to this q omega we derived, right? This expression.
Yes, sir, yes.
I think afterwards we did not get time to take class also. I think Friday, Saturday, Thursday and Friday we lost the class. And even today also. I know that you may not remember. I will just summarize what we did. We were trying to compute the derivative of the transformation matrices. So you should remember that as the launch vehicle moves up. Sorry, I will just close that. Okay, sorry, I'm back now. So if you have a launch vehicle and then you have fixed a frame onto the launch vehicle, and then as the launch vehicle moves, the frame also moves along with the launch vehicle. Therefore, this frame is having a rate with respect to the initial orientations or with respect to any inertial orientation, inertial set of axes. You can imagine ECI, or you can also imagine at the launch point you have vectors x-axis, y-axis, z-axis instantaneously coinciding during the launch point and then remaining at the same location as the earth rotates and the launch vehicle moves. So that is one possible. These are called local inertial systems which you establish, launch point inertial systems. Either you can take earth as the center, and from that center you have the vernal equinox direction, then y-axis perpendicular to the x-axis and along the equatorial plane, and then z-axis along the axis of rotation. This is one possibility. So if you imagine with respect to this, the initial orientation during the launch will be fixed, and then as the rocket moves, the orientation is also changing. So in general, you can imagine that as the rigid body moves, the orientation or the frame which you have fixed to the rigid body is also moving. So therefore, there is a rate. And the measurements what you can usually do is the inertial rotation rates. The rotation rates are measured along the x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis typically, unless you have used the gimbal platform system or stabilized platform system. We will assume we are using strap-down system, where instantaneously the gyroscopes placed along the x-axis, y-axis, z-axis of your launch vehicle or the spacecraft or any other system will be measuring the rates. So these are called the body rates. The question now is, what is the derivative of the attitude matrix or attitude coordinate transformation matrix in terms of the gyros readings or in terms of the body rates? And that is precisely what we derived during the last discussion. Q is your attitude matrix or the coordinate transformation matrix. At any instant of time, the derivative of the coordinate transformation matrix, which is Q dot, is given by omega. Omega is given by the matrix above, that is 3 cross 3 matrix, which contains the components omega z, omega y, and omega x, which is a skew symmetric matrix, where omega x, omega y, omega z are the measurements along the x-axis, rotation measurement along the x, y, and the z-axis. Rotation in the sense rotation rates, angular rates, that is radians per second, and then multiplied by q of t at that instant of time. What was the orientation? This is very similar to the x dot equals to ax system, which you might have already come across the control systems or the signal processing. The integral of this is given by the expression below. Q of t is exponential of integral of 0 to t omega of t dt, and q of 0 is the initial orientation. The 0 to t integral omega of t dt is required because the orientation is changing and the rates are changing. The gyro readings are also changing as the launch vehicle moves. So you must notice that omega is a skew symmetric matrix, and exponential of a skew symmetric matrix is a rotation matrix. Remember this, exponential of a skew symmetric matrix is a rotation matrix. So this is the main thing. So any questions here? The derivation we had discussed already, so you can go through it.
No questions.
Okay. So now what we will do is, we will try to, we had three systems of computing the rotation. One was the direction cosine matrix, the other was the Euler rates and Euler angles, and then the third one was the quaternions. So for each of them, we have to compute the derivative in terms of the gyroscope readings or the angular rates or the body rates, body angular rates. So in the case of Euler angle and Euler axis, our intention is to take the derivative of phi dot, theta dot, and psi dot in terms of the body rates omega x, omega y, and omega z. For a particular sequence, we are considering this aerospace sequence. The rotation matrix at any instant of time is given by q phi, q theta, q psi. Whichever, each of them is, one of them is x, one of them is y axis, and the other is the z axis. The same, whatever derivations we are doing, similar derivations can be done for all the other 24 different kinds of rotation sequences. In fact, you have to do that, and you will find out that the phi dot, theta dot, psi dot will be different. Obviously, it has to be because they represent different set of angles for each of the sequence. We already know through the previous derivation, the body rate is given by q dot multiplied by q transpose. So we will now expand the q dot and the q transpose also. So how do you expand q dot? Since q dot is a multiplication of q is a multiplication of three matrices q phi, q theta, q psi, you have to use the product rule and then expand q dot as follows. So if you notice carefully, the q phi, q theta, q psi, they are all rotation matrices along the x-axis or y-axis or z-axis. Their components are typically cosine of constant terms are there 1, 0, 0, and then there are cosine terms, cosine of phi or cosine of theta or cosine of psi, depending on which rotation matrix you are considering. Then you have sine of phi, sine of theta, and sine of psi. So when you try to take time derivatives of this function, this is an implicit function. If you consider q phi dot, the derivative, time derivative of that will be the partial derivative with respect to phi and then d phi by dt. Similarly, q theta dot will be partial derivative with respect to theta and d theta by dt. Similarly, q psi dot. So if you use that expansion, this is the exercise you have to show. This is not difficult. This includes first computing the derivative matrix and multiplying it with q transpose. In the case of the first term, q phi dot, q theta dot, q psi dot, when you multiply it with q transpose, if you look at the expansion of q itself has q phi, q theta, q psi. So when you take the transpose of that, you get q psi transpose, q theta transpose, and q phi transpose. Therefore, when you multiply all these three terms, these two terms will vanish. So that is why what remains is only q phi transpose, that is expressed here. Similarly, in the case of second term, q psi transpose will vanish and q phi transpose and q theta transpose will remain. So these two terms. Similarly, for the third term, of course, this expression is easy, but the next one is difficult. The intention is to compute phi dot, theta dot, psi dot. You have those terms, you have to somehow manipulate these matrices and then take the terms to the other side and then get back with this expression. So you'll be, after some manipulation, one can show that for this aerospace sequence, the Euler rates are given by this matrix multiplied by the coordinate omega x, omega y, and omega z. Is this fine? Except for how to simplify, which we can go back and try.
Yes, sir.
So let us see some, what we will do is, this is for all the three axes. Let us try out this exercise for single axis, one axis, and then also two axis. The third, all three together will be left as an exercise. So this also is given in your Cupers book. You can go through it. So let us assume that you have phi, theta, psi representing rotation about x, y, and z axis. And let us consider the general rotation case. Q is equals to q phi, q theta, q psi. But of course, we will be doing it for only one case. I'm just indicating the general scheme here. So the perturbations of the rotation will contain at t plus delta t, what is the new rotation. So let us assume that the new rotation matrix at t plus delta t is s phi, s theta, s psi, the multiplication of these three given by s. So what is s phi, s theta, s psi? They are q of phi plus delta phi, q of theta plus delta theta, and q of psi plus delta psi. This is what s is. S represents the perturbations. So what we wish to do is, we wish to write this perturbed rotation as a product of some incremental rotation and original rotation. Right now it is all mixed up. I would like to write it as q times some other matrix r. So or r times q, whichever way we want to look at this. Suppose we wish to write s as a multiplication of these two things, that is s equals to r times q. As an exercise, you can work out if s is q times r, what will happen. Suppose, and we also are going to make additional assumption that r is having identity plus lambda form. So we will see that it is always the case, at least for single axis and two axis rotation, and then hope that it is true. The reason why we need this is, if you write, if you look at any computation of derivative, you require f of t plus delta t minus f of t divided by delta t and take limit as delta t tends to 0. So we also wish to write this one in the same way, such that one of the terms will cancel. That is why we have this identity here. If you imagine S is equals to identity plus lambda, then when you multiply it with q, you will get q plus lambda q. And when you subtract q from this, you will get only lambda times q. So that is why we wish to write in this form. Yes.
Sir, you already taught this thing like in the last class. I think you
I
gave
did
this
not know. That's why I asked you.
Yes, sir. I think we were in quaternion derivatives.
So we had reached quaternion, is it?
Yes, sir.
Did we? Okay, so then I will do that. For single axis, it is possible. This is the expression. Thank you for mentioning. And then for two axis also, I think this is single axis. For double axis, we did, and we made this special assumption that q of delta theta and q of delta phi, we brought it to the center. So this was one special trick we used. And then once again, we computed this. We neglected the second order perturbation because while taking the derivative, the second order perturbations are dying out faster than the first order perturbations. And then you are only dividing it by delta t, which is only first order perturbation. If you are dividing it by delta t square, then both the second order perturbation has to be taken. And that will become second derivative. Since we are doing only first derivative, we will take only the first order terms. Second order terms, in that when you take the limit, second order terms will be 0. First order terms may not be 0. That is why you get the derivative. So by using that, we got this expression, and then we compared it. So we mentioned that delta x, delta y, delta z, these are the variations in the x-axis, y-axis, z-axis, which has this cos theta, delta psi, delta theta, sin theta, and delta phi form. So similarly, the same thing can be obtained for all the three axis rotation, and it was left as an exercise to show that delta x, delta y, delta z are these following expressions. And then omega x, omega y, omega z would be simply obtained by dividing by delta t and taking limit as delta t tends to 0. So when you do that, if you take the first expression, you will notice that you will get omega x, which is delta x by delta t, and limit as delta t tends to 0. And on the right hand side, you have delta phi divided by delta t, which is d phi by dt or phi dot, minus delta psi by delta t, which is psi dot and sin theta. Similarly, all other terms. So wherever delta terms are occurring, there you will get the derivatives when you divide by delta t and take limit as delta t tends to 0. So that's what this expression means. And then finally, we get this expression. The first matrix tells you that the Euler rates phi dot, theta dot, psi dot are given by this matrix multiplied by the omega x, omega y, omega z. Okay, so let us now move. These were left as exercise. You can work it out. I am not going to it. Instead of taking r into q, the perturbation is taken as q into r. It's same thing. You have to repeat all whatever we have done. Then you will get the appropriate expression. And then we also talked about some more exercises where factorizations were considered. So now let us look at how to compute the derivative of the quaternion. So if any questions until now, I'll just pass. I know that you may not remember, but if something comes out of your mind, let me know.
Okay.
Let us now consider derivative of a quaternion. In this case, we apply the usual definition of the derivative, that is, we have to compute this q of t plus delta t. You are at q of t, which represents one orientation, and q of t plus delta t is representing the incremented orientation. So we already have discussed that if I have come up to t plus delta t, I can decompose into up to t you have q of t, and what is the additional rotation you have to apply to reach t plus delta t. That is your delta r of t. So q of t plus delta t equals to q of t delta r of t. This is the factorization result we also discussed. Yeah, not exactly, but you can imagine very similar to that. So the delta rotation is given by delta r equals to cosine of delta alpha plus some direction v and sine of delta alpha. So this is your incremental rotation quaternion. What are the angles? Can you tell what is the rotation angle and the rotation axis? From t to t plus delta t. Yes.
V rotation axis and 2 delta alpha rotation angle.
Very good. Yes. So from the time t to yes.
So here we are first considering rotation by delta and then q, right? According to this order.
In this order.
Like we are multiplying q into delta.
So it will depend on whether you are applying using. Will it depend on the p star qp or pq p star? Does it depend on that or no?
Yes, sir. There will be opposites.
Right, they will be opposite, right? So I think that will not depend on this. This is only which rotation is first. So here I think the delta r rotation is first. Yes. Because if you assume that PQ, P star kind of rotation, then you have this Q of T delta R of T, and then the pure quaternion multiplied by the star of that. The star of that means that delta R and pure quaternion multiplied by delta R star will come first. So therefore that is the first rotation. Yes, you can try it with the reverse form also here also. Delta R of T times Q of T. Okay, these are just mathematical terms. You have to actually interpret it correctly, and you have done it very well.
Sir, isn't the pure quaternion the q vector only? Like
no,
q
here it is
the...
not pure quaternion. Here it is normal quaternion because this is representing rotation operation. Take any arbitrary quaternion with unit norm represents rotation operation. Suppose q of t is the rotation operation up to time t, and q of t plus delta t is the rotation operation up to t plus delta t. From here, we have to compute what is q dot.
Yes, sir.
In terms of the body rates. So the instantaneous axis of rotation is v of t in this particular case, and then the angle of rotation is 2 times delta alpha. Since for delta t, as delta t tends to 0, these quantities delta alpha are also smaller. Therefore, cosine of delta alpha and sine of delta alpha can be approximated. So that is what we do. When you take that approximation, what we obtain is delta r of t is 1 plus v times delta alpha. This is something similar to what we have done for your even in the standard elementary rotation case also we can do the same thing. This is precisely similar to that. Only the sine terms are there, cosine terms have become 1. So let us now multiply q of t and delta r of t to obtain q of t plus delta t. So this is the expression, and then the difference q of t plus delta t minus q of t, which is which is what we are interested in when we are trying to compute the derivative. So this particular expression is this one. The last term, that is q of t plus delta t minus q of t, is q of t multiplied by v. All you have to interpret using quaternion multiplication, and delta alpha is a scalar quantity. And in order to compute the derivative, we simply divide by delta t and take limit as delta t tends to 0. So now let us see, give an interpretation. Actually, it's very simple. What is this omega? It is delta alpha divided by delta t and limit as delta t tends to 0. It's a scalar quantity. So what does it represent? It represents angle per second. Radians per second, angle per second. That is what omega of t is. So since the delta term is only present in this delta alpha term, rest of the term will appear as it is. So v of t is the axis of rotation and omega is the angular rate along that axis. So together what you get is omega bar. This multiplication is quaternion multiplication. This simple omega is a scalar quantity and omega bar is the vector quantity, but this multiplication is in quaternion domain. So this angular rate is omega bar. Is it in half angular rate or full angular rate?
Half angular rates.
Excellent.
Half.
That's what it is. Omega is half angular rate about the v-axis, or omega bar is the half angular rate vector. So if someone gives you omega, which is the full angular rate, the quaternion dot is computed by half angular rate, which is multiplying your given quaternion at that instant of time, q of t. That will be your q dot. This complete thing is quaternion multiplication. Since it is quaternion multiplication, we can represent it by matrix multiplication. This part we have already seen it in the context of your quaternion expressions, but okay, so this is straightforward. This is just for additional information. This term is, this expansion is important. Okay, q dot is q times omega bar. Or if you had multiplied it in the reverse way, probably you will get omega bar times q of t. Go back and verify that. Now, what we require, this is only representing the rotation operation. The actual rotation operation contains the q star operation also. If you remember, if you have an arbitrary quaternion p, the rotation, if you have an arbitrary quaternion q, the rotation is given by q or q star. So we have to also know what is this q star. If I have to compute, or dq by dq star by dt is also required if we have to compute the derivative of the rotation itself. The rotation is complete rotation operation is indicated by that LQ operator, if you remember, which is Q or Q star. So since that Q star is also present there, we would like to know what is Q dQ star by dt. So this can be computed using this hint, that is, if you look at Q star Q is always identity, irrespective of what unit quaternion you are considering. Therefore, if you consider derivative on the left hand side and right hand side, and on the right hand side you will get derivative as 0 because always it is unit. Left hand side you apply the product rule. If you apply the product rule, once you get q dot star times q plus q star times q dot. So q dot is already known, only q dot star is not known. Therefore, if you can play around with the expression, you will get this quantity. dq by dt is q times omega bar. dq star by dt is minus omega bar times q star. This you have to show. Now let us combine this in your rotation operation. You have LQ of W is Q star WQ. I have taken Q star WQ. I think sometimes I take Q WQ star. So these are just representative, so it doesn't matter what you take, but you have to be consistent, that's all. So if you take Q WQ star, then these expressions will be different. So you have to work out appropriately. So in this particular case, if you want to take LQ dot So you apply the product rule. Since Q star of t and Q of t are the only time varying things, the derivative is given by this expression. So LQ dot is dq star by dt omega w bar or vector w and q of t plus q star w dq by dt. But we already know the expansion for dq star by dt and dq by dt. If you substitute that, you get this expression. What you notice is you once again get the rotation operation here and in the second term also. So therefore LQ dot is minus omega bar times LQ of W plus LQ of W times omega bar. Does this make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Did we complete this? I have a vague feeling that we have completed this also. Someone
Sir.
mentioned that if I multiply two vectors, you will get 2 times cross product, things like that. Okay, so what was the question?
Said like you said that we could also take that r into q instead of q into r, so that omega will come in like left side of inside in that expression, sir, dq by dt expression.
Mm-hmm.
So sir, if we take that, then won't it happen that q into omega bar equal to omega bar into q? Because the derivative should be same for both. So q into omega bar, shouldn't it be omega bar into q, sir?
I think that expression will change. Final, after multiplication, you may get same thing. Yeah, your question is right. The derivative should be same. This one, right? But there will be some minus differences.
For the previous slide.
This one. Here
Yes,
or
sir.
where?
Yes,
This
sir.
side, no? This one.
No, sir. Back side. This one, yes, sir.
This one.
So here,
you are saying this will become omega bar times q.
sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. So it will be.
Attention
same.
is derivative has a different expression depending on how we expand.
Yes, sir.
So if we multiply, will we get the correct thing, or it will still have some sign issues? Yeah, the point is right. Probably the dependence will be which rotation is first, depending on that. So for this expansion, what I have done, I have to use this Q star WQ. If I use QWQ star, I will not be able to write this expression properly in this way. So if you
Yes,
use
sir.
QWQ star, the terms will come some here and there and some mix-up will happen. So because of that, this expansion will hold good for this particular definition of the rotation operation. If you use QWQ star, then in this expansion, you have to change that. That is delta R times Q of t. So now the question is, it appears that the derivative is dependent on the
Order of.
or is that the case, or is it our interpretation which is causing trouble? Does it have anything to do with interpretation? Probably it will have something to do with the way we are interpreting the results. Yeah, this is a good question. Keep this in mind. I will also think about it. Right now, I can only see that it will have only implications on the interpretation. So question now is, how does interpretation and the results of the derivative should matter? Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just keep that in mind. We will come back to that. It is related to the order of rotation. So all this final expression is quaternion multiplication, where omega bar is alpha dot v, which is half angular rate vector. So yeah, I think this is the final expression we are interested in actually. So the whatever we are doing now is just additional discussions on the same thing, just to make things clear. Suppose if we consider elementary rotations, how the elementary axis behave under the rotations q. So then we have this elementary axes are rotated as LQ of I, LQ of J, and LQ of K. Let them be EI, EK, EJ, EK. These are rotations after the elementary vectors are rotated. Any arbitrary vector W is a linear combination of Ij, K. So therefore, if I have to know what is the rotation on W, it is enough to know the rotation on the Ijk by linearity of the operator LQ. So by linearity of the operator LQ, I simply have to look at individual rotations LQ, LJ, and LQ of K, LQ of I, LQ of J, LQ of K, and multiply it by the coefficients omega W1, Wi, Wj, Wk. So this is the meaning. If you go back, we also notice that if this is the rotated vector and this is your W is your original vector and LQ of W is the rotated vector, then the matrix which gives you the rotated vector from the original vector W is precisely this expression. So therefore this EI, EJ, EK, when we say EI, EJ, EK, which are actually rotated versions of IJK, are these have these coordinates. These are the coordinates of the rotation vectors. After rotation, the EI, EJ, EK, the elementary axis in the new domain appear with these coordinates. So this is your DCM matrix. Okay, so basically the DCM matrix contains the coefficients of expansion that we have already seen by definition. So we are giving some additional relation between quaternions and this one. This is Q times W, which we already know. Suppose if you want to compute derivative of this is normal quaternion. If you want to compute derivative, then EI dot EJ dot EK dot is what we have to compute. But what is EI dot EJ dot EK dot? EI dot is d by dt of EI, which is nothing but d by dt of Q star IQ, which we had already computed for a general vector, which is minus omega bar LQ and plus LQ times omega bar, which is minus omega bar EI plus EI times omega bar. I think one of you had pointed out that since this is both are pure quaternions now, EI and omega bar are pure quaternions. When you do this kind of multiplication, you get twice this cross product, 2 times EI cross omega bar. So can you find, if you reinterpret this, what will you get? It is EI times 2 times omega bar. It is EI times 2 times omega bar, but omega bar is half angular rate, remember that, and 2 times omega bar is the actual angular rate. So derivative of any vector is nothing but vector cross producted with the axis of rotation. We have got back the same result which we had earlier. Derivative of any vector is the vector cross producted with the axis of rotation, assuming there is an axis of rotation. We are assuming that the origin is fixed and then the rotation operation is happening. We are not considering the translation. So this is the same result we have obtained using this quaternion multiplication. Similarly, I can do for Ej, Ek. In general, for the W vector also we can do that. Minus omega bar times Q times W, or this particular expressions for Ei, Ej, and Ek. So this you just have to verify that if you have quaternion multiplication of this form with only pure quaternions, you get this cross product. This is in the usual vector domain, and this term is multiplications in the quaternion domain. So if you, by combining all of them, we get this big expression. And if you look at that EI2, omega 3, these are all components things which are nothing but the cross products in this fashion. And if you take omega common, what will you get? You will get EI, EJ, EK cross producted with 2 times the omega bar matrix vector. Or if it is in matrix multiplication, you have this capital omega matrix. So Ei, Ej, Ek is multiplied with the capital omega matrix. So Q dot equals to Q times Ei, Ej, Ek is your Q matrix. So we are getting back all the results which are same. So this is Q dot is this one. You can, I think this expression is slightly ulta. It should be Ei, Ej, Ek multiplied by this matrix. Or maybe I had changed the signs. You have to go back and check. There will be some issue here only in this exercise. Either this will be the matrix or the minus will come in the matrix. Compare with, actually what we get is Q times omega. Okay, so you just go back and check, because we have taken Q star WQ, we should get Q times omega. It is the reverse rotation. And then how do you verify whether the operator is linear or not, the derivative operator? Any questions?
No, sir.
Yeah, so that's it. Okay, the quaternion part is over. I will, next step is to go into the rigid bodies or into the usual discussions on the inertial systems. Probably I will use the inertial systems and other things. Rigid body we will cover it at the last. So in the rotation case, what we have done is coordinate transformations, 3 types we had defined. These are called attitude kinematics. Remember, what we have derived in the rates are called attitude kinematics. We do not know what is the cause of this rotation. We simply applied it. The cause of the rotation will come from the rigid body dynamics, which we will go into not next, probably as the third phase. We have actually 3 main topics to cover now. We are significantly behind the schedule. The 3 main topics are the block diagrams and the other discussions for the inertial navigation system, then the GPS, and then the rigid body. Depending on the time availability, we will discuss one of them, some of them. We will try to cover maximum so that you get a feel. When you go out, you may require all these things, especially to ISRO or any space industry. Okay, I think not more than 50 minutes we should take the class, especially theory. We can discuss some questions or comments and things like that now.
Sir, please enable this slide in Moodle.
This I thought is enabled. Okay, I will enable it. I will do that. questions, comments, and then projects, what you are doing, what you have thought, I would like to discuss, unless you have any other questions in this topic. You can combine with any other course and then relate it to navigation. The navigation includes inertial navigation, the estimation of the orientations, that is also navigation, then GPS and other kinds of things. You can also include algorithms for ADCS and things like that. So many things are there. Pulsar navigation is also there. Therefore, I would prefer that you discuss with me first before you make the decisions. Have you made the groups? What was the decision we had made? Do you remember, Kshitij, the beginning? How many members in each group?
3 members.
Three.
3. Okay. So what you do is before this week, give me the prepare a shared Google Sheet where the groups are made. Okay, I would like to start with the groups first, then we can start what projects you are going to choose and things like that. Quiz 1 is over, and then you have reasonably fair idea of what is involved. Some more details are there, but that can be smoothed out as we go further. Okay, first step is before this week, let us have a shared Google Sheet where you have entered your group members with SC code, email ID, phone number, all those things, so that if necessary, I can contact you.
Okay.
And any questions? I'm waiting for questions, comments, and things like that.
No, sir, no question.
You have no questions? Okay. What about others? Comments also. Okay, so I think we have to take some feedback also before the official feedback comes. So the questions will be: is it fast, slow? What do you want? Whichever is feasible, I will try to do. Yes. So is the course going slow or fast? You can also comment other things. I am asking few questions. How many feel it is fast? How many feel it is slow? Maybe
Sir, speed is okay, sir.
Speed is okay.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Does anyone feel speed is slow or fast? They can also mention. Don't hesitate, okay? So I'm not going to evaluate you based on this. You can stop recording now. Kshitij. Kshitij, are you there?
So
Okay.
the speed is fine for me too.
Yeah, I am stopping the recording. I hope it will be